He wasn't supposed to belong. He wasn't supposed to win. But he didn't follow the rules, he rewrote them. It started in a place where hip-hop didn't expect to find its next icon, a poor, predominantly black neighborhood in Detroit, where a white kid with no connections, no credibility, and no safety net dared to step into a culture that wasn't built for him. That kid was Eminem. And what he would go on to do wasn't just succeed in rap, it was to completely reshape it. To understand how Eminem reinvented rap, you have to understand what he walked into. Hip-hop was, and still is, deeply rooted in black culture. For decades, it had been a space where authenticity mattered more than anything. And for a white rapper, especially in the 1990s, that meant one thing: he would have to prove himself twice as hard. Eminem didn't just face doubt. He faced rejection, ridicule, and constant questioning of whether he even belonged. Early in his career, people dismissed him simply because of his race, telling him he should leave rap and move into another genre. But instead of backing down, he leaned into it. Eminem didn't try to imitate others or hide who he was. He embraced his identity, his struggles, and his anger. His early music was raw, aggressive, and brutally honest. It reflected the reality of his life: poverty, family problems, and being an outsider in both society and hip-hop. This authenticity became his weapon. He didn't try to fit in, he forced the industry to make room for him. And then came the explosion. When Eminem broke into the mainstream in 1999 with the Slim Shady LP, everything changed. His style was unlike anything people had heard before: rapid-fire delivery, complex rhyme schemes, dark humor, and fearless storytelling. He wasn't just rapping, he was performing, acting, and pushing boundaries all at once. His alter ego, Slim Shady, allowed him to say things others wouldn't dare, turning controversy into attention and attention into dominance. But Eminem's impact went deeper than shock value. One of the most powerful ways Eminem changed the game was by expanding the audience of hip-hop in a way no one had done before. Before his rise, rap was already growing, but it still had clear cultural boundaries. Eminem didn't just step into the genre, he stretched its reach. He connected with a massive group of listeners who had never fully engaged with hip-hop, especially white, suburban audiences who suddenly saw their own emotions, struggles, and identity reflected in his music. His lyrics spoke directly to feelings of anger, confusion, rebellion, and isolation, emotions that transcended race and geography. As a result, hip-hop didn't just grow, it exploded into the mainstream in ways the industry had never experienced. But this wasn't just about popularity, it was about transformation. Eminem became a bridge between cultures. He introduced millions of new listeners to hip-hop while still earning the respect of the culture's core. And that balance is what made his success so significant. He didn't water down the genre to make it easier to consume. He didn't change hip-hop to fit new audiences. He brought new audiences into hip-hop as it truly was. That authenticity preserved the integrity of the culture while expanding its influence. It created a moment where the genre became universal, without losing its roots. At the same time, Eminem's lyrical ability raised the standard of what rap could be. He wasn't just a popular artist, he was technically extraordinary. His wordplay, rhyme schemes, and storytelling ability pushed the boundaries of lyricism. He could weave complex internal rhymes into a single bar, switch flows effortlessly, and create narratives that felt cinematic. Songs weren't just tracks, they were experiences. Critics and legends alike recognized this, often placing him among the greatest lyricists of all time. His ability to combine technical precision with emotional intensity made his music both impressive and deeply relatable. He made rap more complex, more expressive, and more unpredictable. But perhaps the most revolutionary thing Eminem did was redefine vulnerability in hip-hop. Before him, much of mainstream rap focused on strength, dominance, and success. Showing weakness was often avoided. Eminem flipped that idea completely. He opened up about his pain, his trauma, his struggles with addiction, and his inner conflicts. Songs like Stan and Lose Yourself weren't just hits, they were emotional journeys. They told stories that listeners could feel, not just hear. He showed that being raw and honest didn't make you weak, it made you powerful. This shift had a lasting impact. It opened the door for future artists to express themselves more freely. It made it acceptable to talk about mental health, personal struggles, and vulnerability in a genre that had once prioritized toughness above all else. Eminem didn't just change the sound of rap, he changed its emotional depth. At the same time, he wasn't afraid to provoke controversy. Eminem's lyrics often sparked outrage from parents, politicians, and critics. His content was bold, unfiltered, and sometimes shocking. But instead of backing down, he leaned into the controversy. He understood that attention, whether positive or negative, could be powerful. Songs like White America directly addressed the cultural impact of his success, highlighting how his music connected with audiences who had previously been disconnected from hip-hop. He turned criticism into conversation, and conversation into dominance. This fearless approach made him impossible to ignore. His influence quickly spread across the industry. Eminem's journey was filled with personal struggles, addiction, legal issues, and moments that nearly ended his career. At one point, his battle with substance abuse became so severe that it threatened his life. For a moment, it seemed like everything he had built might collapse. But just like his rise, his comeback was powerful. He fought through his struggles, regained control, and returned with a renewed sense of purpose. This comeback wasn't just about music, it was about survival. It showed that even at the lowest point, it's possible to rebuild. It added another layer to his story, making it not just about success, but about resilience. His journey became proof that greatness is not defined by perfection, but by the ability to rise after falling. Over time, Eminem continued to evolve. His music matured, his themes deepened, and his perspective shifted. He experimented with different sounds, collaborated with artists from various genres, and adapted to an industry that constantly changes. While many artists fade with time, Eminem remained relevant. Decades into his career, he continues to influence new generations of artists and fans, proving that his impact is not limited to a single era. So, did Eminem really reinvent rap? He didn't create hip-hop, and he didn't replace its roots. But he expanded it, challenged it, and pushed it into new territory. He broke racial barriers, elevated lyrical standards, and introduced a level of emotional storytelling that reshaped the genre. He made rap more inclusive, more expressive, and more globally influential. More importantly, he proved something powerful: authenticity wins. Eminem didn't succeed because he tried to be someone else, he succeeded because he was unapologetically himself. He didn't follow the system, he forced the system to evolve around him. And in doing so, he became one of the most influential artists in music history. From a poor kid in Detroit to a global icon, his journey is more than just a story of fame. It's a reminder that greatness can come from the most unexpected places. It's proof that barriers can be broken, that norms can be challenged, and that being different can be your greatest strength. And sometimes, the person who feels like they don't belong is the one who changes everything. If you love real stories behind iconic success, subscribe and be part of this journey.